All right, question 10. What is the life expectancy in years of the animal that has the longest gestation period? So the animal with the longest gestation period would be this animal here, this dot, and the life expectancy looks like it's going to be between 2 and 4, so 3. Okay. 11. Of the labeled points, which represents the animal for which the ratio of life expectancy to gestation period is the greatest? So this is a fancy way of asking for which has the highest slope. Okay, because you can think of this as y and this as x, so slope is change in y over change in x. So we'll assume a fixed point of 0, 0, just for reference. And the line that would create the highest slope, let's see. All right. Certainly none of these. Oh yeah, so we only get to choose between A, B, C, and D. So here's A, here's B, C, and D. So certainly the highest slope is choice A. All right. In the xy plane, the graph of the function f has x-intercepts at -3, -1, and 1. Which of the following could define f? So those are basically our zeros. So x equals -3, x equals -1, x equals 1. So if we went one step backwards, we can add 3 to both sides. Okay, plus 3 plus 3, and that would give us x plus 3 equals 0. We can add 1, we get x plus 1 equals 0, right? And we can subtract 1, we get x minus 1 equals 0. So our factors would have been x plus 3, x plus 1, and x minus 1. Okay, so that looks like answer choice, which one is it? Oh, well, it would be answer choice C, wouldn't it? Okay. Right. The population of mosquitoes in a swamp is estimated over the course of 20 weeks. Which of the following best describes the relationship between the time estimated population of mosquitoes during the 20 weeks? So as time increases, the population increases, and let's see how it's increasing. It looks like I'm multiplying by 10 every interval, right? So whenever I'm timesing by something, that is known as an exponential increase. If I was to add something each time, that would be a linear increase. So I would say this is exponential growth, choice C. The expression above gives the amount of money in dollars generated in a year by a $1,000 deposit in a bank account that pays annual interest rate R%, compounded monthly. Which of the following expressions shows how much additional money is generated at an interest of 5% than at an interest of 3%? So what we want to do is we'd want to plug in 5 for the rate. And right away I'm jumping towards answer choice D because I'm seeing them plug in 5 as the rate, and I'm seeing them plugging in 3 as the rate, I'm seeing them subtract. So that is exactly what we would have to do for this question. Which of the following scatter plots shows a relationship that is appropriately modeled with the equation y equals a times x to the b, where a is positive and b is negative? So a is positive, let's say 2, and then b is negative, let's say a to the minus 3 or any type of number. So what we are expecting to see here is exponential decay, perhaps. Let's see, would that be the case? So this is completely random, so it wouldn't be modeled by any function. This is some sort of growth here, and these are both showing decay, but this looks linear, whereas this looks sort of exponential decay, right? So the answer choice here would be B. Let's see, for what number of days X will the total cost of buying the materials and renting the tools from store B be less than or equal to the total cost of buying materials and renting the tools from store A? Okay, so total costs are given by this equation. So, okay, so it looks like we could plug in the values for store A and store B. So here are the values for store A. We could plug them into the formula. So y equals m, which is 750, plus w plus k times x. W plus k is 15 plus 65 times x. All right. And if we add those together, of course, we get 80. So let's just sub that in here. 80x. All right. Now we have to do for store B. So for store B, we would again get m. So m for store B is 600 plus, this time it's 25 plus 80 times x. So we're using this row of numbers here. 25 and 80 is 105. So let's plug that in, 105x. Now we want the costs to be equal. So let's set the right sides equal. So we have 750 plus 80x equals 600 plus 105x. And so we start with the x's, subtract 80x over. And I think the difference there would be 25x. And then we could subtract 600 from both sides. We get 150 on that side. Then we could divide by 25. And how many quarters does it take to make $1.50? It would take 6 quarters, right? So x equals 6. So that brings us down to choice A and B. We want the cost of store B to be less than or equal to the cost of store A. So which one starts out larger? I think B starts out smaller, right? We want B to be less. So anything before x equals 6 is also going to have B being less because it starts out lower. Eventually it overtakes it. So B might look like this, whereas A might look like that. So eventually at x equals 6 is when B begins to overtake A. All right? So anything less than 6 is where B is going to be less than or equal to A. If the relationship between total cost of buying the materials and renting the tools at store C and the number of days X for which the tools are rented is graphed on the XY plane, what does the slope of the line represent? Okay, so it doesn't matter that it's store C, it just wants this formula right here. And it wants to talk about the slope. So if we interpret this as a linear function, we have a slope, which is the coefficient in front of x, and we also have the y-intercept. So we have slope, we have y-intercept. So the slope, in this case, is going to be w plus k, right? And so that would be the rental cost of the wheelbarrow plus the rental cost of the concrete mixer in dollars per day. So it's basically the variable costs added together. Let's see which choice represents that. The total daily cost of the tools. Yeah, the wheelbarrow and the, right. So that that would be the total daily rental costs. It's not the cost of the project total. It's not the total cost of materials, total daily cost of the project, total daily rental costs of the tools. Let's just double check. Yeah. Right. Renting the tools. Okay, so yeah.